You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Plus, with Indeed sponsored jobs, there are no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/listen. Just go to Indeed.com/listen right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/listen. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
This story isn't just tragic, it's terrifying in its silence. A 19-year-old girl, new apartment, second night, and then a single gunshot. No one heard a thing, no forced entry, no robbery, just a bullet and a mystery that still haunts Arizona. I know you might hear ads during this episode. I'm truly sorry for that. I'll be removing them soon to keep your experience pure. But for now, bear with me, because what you're about to hear is the heartbreaking case of Rachel Hansen. And if you think this could never happen to someone you know, you're wrong. Well, now let's begin, guys. This case, the murder of Rachel Hansen. Rachel Hansen was just 19 years old, full of dreams, full of life, and standing right at the edge of a brand new beginning. She had just earned her real estate license, recently moved into a new apartment in Gilbert, Arizona, and was engaged to be married. Everything in her life was moving forward, fast, exciting, and filled with hope. But all of that came to a violent stop on just her second night in her new home. Rachel had barely settled into her apartment at the Redstone at Santan Village when sometime after midnight, someone entered her apartment while she slept. They didn't take anything. They didn't break anything. They didn't say a word. They simply walked in and shot her. One single shot while she lay in bed. The killer then left, just like that. Rachel was later rushed to Chandler Regional Medical Center, but it was too late. She was pronounced dead. It's now been 1 year since that horrifying night, and still, no arrests, no named suspect, no answers. All the Gilbert Police Department will say is, the investigation remains ongoing. Rachel had been sleeping on her back. That's what her mother, Kim Hansen, painfully confirmed. The bullet entered through the lower left side of Rachel's abdomen and exited near her upper right shoulder. It wasn't random. It wasn't messy. It was quiet and calculated. There were no signs of forced entry. There was even some uncertainty about whether the main door had been left unlocked, or someone had a key. But Rachel's bedroom door had definitely been shut. Why? Because inside with her were 2 little pups, foster dogs she had been caring for. At exactly 2 a.m. on Saturday, June 4th, 2022, Rachel somehow managed to dial 911. She told Gilbert police dispatchers, "I've been shot by a stranger inside my apartment." That call would be the last time her voice was ever heard. What's chilling is what didn't happen. Nothing was stolen, nothing was out of place. There was no mess, no forced chaos, just silence. One neighbor, whose apartment shared a wall with Rachel's, later said, "My apartment is wall to wall with hers. It breaks my heart that we didn't hear a single thing and didn't call for help." The next morning, neighbors were stunned. "We had no idea anything had happened until the police were banging on our door," said one resident who lived in the same building. Even the people who lived directly below Rachel's apartment didn't hear a single thing. No footsteps, no screams, no gunshot. Just silence. A silence that now echoed with questions. Rachel's mother, Kim Hansen, is still haunted. Even a year later, there's no clarity, no closure. "I absolutely can't imagine who would want to hurt her," she said. "Rachel didn't have enemies. She didn't do drugs. She wasn't involved in anything dangerous. It's that impossibility. That makes the pain unbearable. Was this a case of mistaken identity? A wrong apartment? A tragic twist of fate? She was strong-willed, determined, and so giving, Kim said. Even as a little girl, Rachel would pull her wagon around the neighborhood to collect food donations. She raised money for sick friends. She auctioned items at barrel races. She cared deeply. When news of her death broke, tributes poured in online. Words like motivated, precious, sweet, inspiring. Even a woman who had never met Rachel but lived in the apartment below posted online. I've been heartbroken since June 5th. I've heard how wonderful she was. I can only imagine the angel she is now. And still, no suspect, no arrest, no justice. Rachel Hansen was only 19, engaged to be married, starting a new life, and someone ended that life while she was asleep in bed. Who did this? And why? Before Rachel Hansen ever made the news, before the unsolved murder, before the headlines and hashtags, there was just a little girl sitting on a fence. 6-year-old Rachel had arrived at the Hansens' home with scars no one could see, the kind that come from a childhood filled with trauma. Her foster mother, Kim, remembers the moment that changed everything. She was sitting on the fence, and she said, "I just wish we could have a horse." The Hansens, who had already rehomed all their horses after their older children left, didn't hesitate. For Rachel, they went back into the horse business, because sometimes healing doesn't come from therapy sessions or medication. It comes from brushing a mane, feeding before sunrise, learning to love and be loved by something that can't speak back. It's one of the best therapies for children with trauma, Kim said. To care for a living creature teaches you to care for yourself again. 3 months after arriving at the Hansens' home, they adopted Rachel as their own. She became part of a massive, loving family. 13 children in total, many adopted just like her. And when it came to horses, Rachel was different. She never took formal lessons, but she didn't need them. Rachel had something else, something people in the equestrian world quietly whispered about. They called her the Horse Whisperer. She was young, talented, and more than anything, she was finally happy. But as we now know, that chapter of her life ended far too soon. She had a natural gift, her mother Kim said. She never met a horse she couldn't get on. Rachel Hansen wasn't just good with horses. She understood them. She connected with them in a way most people never could. Even as a teenager, she was fearless, calling her mom before hopping on untamed yearlings and saying, "Pray for me, Mom. I'm going to ride him." By 14, she was already teaching younger kids. By 16, she graduated high school a full year early and launched her own horse business. Training, riding, hauling, selling, finding horses for clients. She even rescued the abandoned horses and helped rehome wild Mustangs captured on federal land. This wasn't just a passion. This was Rachel's life. She was building something real. And at the center of it all was Dash, her registered quarter horse. Dash was in foal at the time Rachel was taken from this world. Today, Dash and her baby live on Hansen Ranch, a symbol of everything Rachel built and everything she never got to finish. Heartbreaking. June 4th, 2022, while Rachel lay asleep in her brand new apartment, someone entered her room, pulled the trigger once, and disappeared. She was just 8 days away from turning 20. She had plans, dreams. Her favorite birthday getaway was coming. Canyon Lake, tubing, skiing, cliff jumping. She was set to marry her fiancé, Jommet Bailey, in the fall, and she was going to use her new real estate license to help people like her. People who wanted land, freedom, and horses. She had a full life ahead, but that future was stolen. The first 6 months after we lost her, there were days I didn't even know what day it was, Rachel's mother, Kim Hansen, recalled. That kind of pain, the kind that rips through every part of your life, it doesn't go away. It stays. A few of their children went to therapy. Kim tried too, but even therapy couldn't fill the hole Rachel left behind. Her fiancé, Jommet Bailey, moved in with the Hansens after the murder. He stayed for 3 months, just to be near Rachel's things, her energy, her world. And even now, though he lives elsewhere, he visits almost every day. He's part of our family, Kim says. We love him like a son. The investigation. A year has passed, still no arrest, no closure. but Kim says she's very optimistic. They meet with the lead detective every few months, and each time the update is vague, but hopeful. We're working on it. We've gone down some rabbit holes. We're still following leads. The police don't say much, and maybe that's a good thing. But the Hansen family, they refuse to let Rachel's story fade. They keep her memory alive, talking about her, posting about her, building something in her name. Because if something this dark can happen in a place like Gilbert, people need to know. They need to remember. Rachel's rescue. Rachel's legacy didn't end with her death. It transformed. In May, Kim Hansen started something called Rachel's Rescue, a non-profit dog and puppy shelter built in Rachel's name. Because if there's one thing Rachel stood for, it was love. For people, for animals, for life itself. Rachel fostered and cared for dogs and puppies with me, her mother Kim remembered. And she always wanted to start her own rescue. She had such a big heart, too big for the world she was taken from. But even as the family prepared to face the 1-year anniversary of her murder, something else was weighing heavily on Kim's mind. It wasn't just Rachel's death. It was what happened right before. On May 24th, 2022, just days before Rachel was killed, the world witnessed one of the darkest moments in recent U.S. history. 19 children were gunned down in Uvalde, Texas. Rachel saw the news, and it shattered her. She spent that day sobbing and sobbing, Kim said. It hit her so deeply. She kept asking, how could this happen? She couldn't understand the evil in this world. None of us can. And what no one knew then was that just a few days later, that same evil would walk straight into her apartment, take her life, leave a void no one can ever fill. Rachel Hansen, gone but never forgotten. She was 19, strong-willed, brave, loving, a daughter, a fiancée, a horse whisperer, a rescuer. She cried for the children of Uvalde, and now an entire family cries for her. Her story deserves to be told, and until her killer is caught, we'll keep telling it. So here's what we're left with. Rachel Hansen, a strong, bright young woman, loved by her family, engaged, successful, and full of life, murdered while asleep in her bed. No struggle, no witnesses, and worst of all, no answers. Was it a case of wrong place, wrong time? Did someone have a key? Or was this something far more personal? The truth remains buried. But what we do know is that her story deserves to live on, and maybe, just maybe, someone out there knows something. If you've been listening this far, thank you. I know you're out there, and I know you care. New true crime episodes drop every Monday and Thursday, only on The Black Hour. Don't forget to follow, rate, and share the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere else. Your support helps keep these stories alive. And if you have a case you want me to cover, reach out. Because here, every voice matters, even the ones we've lost. And hey, if you've lived through something strange, something horrifying, send your story to the email in the description, theblackhourpodcast01@gmail.com. Who knows, the next episode might be yours, and keep it The Black Hour. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Your cold is coming! Your cold is coming! When you feel a cold coming, shorten it with Zicam, the #1 cold shortening brand.
Oh no, not before my big trip.
The big trip you've been planning is coming up, and so is your cold. But Zicam can shorten your cold and get you back to planning sooner.
Thanks, Revere.
We really should keep Zicam in the house.
Shorten your cold with Zicam.
Take it from America's most revered messenger. Shorten your cold at the first sign with cold shortening products from Zicam, the #1 cold shortening brand. Available in stores or see where to buy at Zicam.com.